CEO Ripple resigns. What will happen to Ripple XRP? XRP to $50,000. In a Saturday tweet, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has forgotten about its responsibilities to consumers as it continues to enforce regulation. The current price of XRP for today is $0.35, and the trading volume for 24 hours is $136,000,000 We are updating our XRP price in US dollars in real time. XRP has dropped 30% in the last 24 hours. Welcome to the Rich Club channel. If you like this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Do you think the analysts are right about XRP? Write the answers in the comments. Giving away 500 XRP at the end of the week. One random subscriber will receive XRP coins. Take a look at the instructions in the comments section. All you need to do is write the word XRP, watch the video to the end to like and subscribe. The Relative Strength Index, RSI, has not been definitive over the past few days. Last week, the RSI held a neutral value of 50 as support, but recently this level has not passed. Thus, there may be some volatile dynamics during the weekend. Similarly, the Awesome Oscillator, AO, was also below zero. He has not yet shown a strong bearish impulse. The A/D line had a resistance zone that was directly overhead and was indicated by two dotted white lines. If A/D can overcome this region, it will be a sign of sustained demand for the XRP rally. The Directional Movement Index, DMI, showed the absence of a strong trend. ADX, yellow, it was at level 20, ADI just above the 20 mark. Technically, this indicated a bearish trend, but in general meant the absence of a significant trend over the past few days. The $0.35-$0.36 range will be important to protect the bulls over the next day or two. The formation of a lower low below this area will signal bearish strength. Momentum indicators were inconclusive on the lower timeframes. Bitcoin could also strongly influence the direction of XRP in the near future. Ripple's big victory in the XRP lawsuit has caused a lot of reactions. Stuart Alderoty, Ripple's general counsel, said that after a long 18 months of waiting and 6 court orders, the SEC finally refused Hinman's documents. However, these documents do not contain evidence of whether XRP is a security or not. Meanwhile, Ripple's general counsel mentioned that for now these documents will remain confidential. He added that getting these notes was worth fighting for. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse in his tweet on October 21 shared a message from Ripple general counsel Stuart Alderoty, in comments to which he urged not to believe the SEC. According to Garlinghouse, the SEC's decision to finally hand over the documents to Ripple is an attempt by the agency to give people the idea that it cares about disclosure, transparency, and clarity. The SEC wants you to think that it cares about disclosure, transparency, and clarity. Don't believe them. When the truth eventually comes out, the shame of their behavior here will shock you. To the surprise of many in the community, this tweet was answered by Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who wrote, "No way," showing his support for XRP and criticism of the SEC at the same time. The richest man in the world has been continuing the confrontation with the SEC for years, and knows what he is talking about. The Federal Reserve System will continue to tighten monetary policy in an attempt to tame inflation, Central Bank Vice Chairman Lael Brainerd told the participants of the annual economic meeting. The strength of US dollar inflation is due to the shocks caused by the global pandemic, limited supply chains due to the conflict in Ukraine and high economic uncertainty, Brainerd said in her speech at the 64th annual meeting of the National Association of Business Economics in Chicago. According to her, the Federal Reserve System is responsible for the high secondary effects of interest rates, as well as for the strength of the dollar and foreign economic demand. According to Brainerd, the cross-border effects of unforeseen changes in interest rates and exchange rates may reinforce lower risk tolerance, given the fragile liquidity in major financial markets. This could create problems for politicians if these risks materialize. Monetary policy will be restrictive for some time, Brainerd said, adding that a cumulative effort will be needed to reduce the inflation rate. Despite the fact that, thanks to higher interest rates, supply is better aligned with demand, real gross domestic product, GDP, decreased by almost 1% year-on-year, and real private domestic purchases also decreased from 6.4% year-on-year last year to just 1.3% this year, Brainerd said. According to her, the decline in consumer spending may be the result of a decline in household savings, which are estimated to be almost 25% less than in previous quarters. It is also predicted that by the end of the year, the policy rate will increase more than twice compared to expectations 7 months before. This, taking into account the increase in interest rates and broader financial conditions, means a limited recovery in the second half of the year with relatively stable GDP growth. There are some good expectations. Brainerd pointed out that strong wage growth and high rental and housing costs are expected to reduce high inflation. It is also expected that due to the shift in demand from goods to services, the decline in basic import prices and disordered supply chains, basic goods will return to some semblance of prices before the pandemic. The pandemic has led to increased margins in the trading sectors, which are expected to be balanced by increasing inventories, easing supply constraints, and reducing demand, which Brainerd says will help lower commodity inflation. According to Brainerd, against the background of different views on future inflation, a quarter of respondents expect prices to be at or below the current level in the next 5 to 10 years. In addition, preliminary signs of labor market rebalancing come from unconfirmed reports suggesting that the labor market is weakening, Brainerd said. The Securities and Exchange Commission opposed Ripple's motion for summary trial. The commission mentioned that indisputable facts prove that the defendants were engaged in unregistered sales of securities. She added that Ripple implicitly admits that they won't win the Howey test. According to the SEC, Ripple's analysis of the Howey test represents an attempt by the blockchain company to build its own test based on a pre-1933 state law, taking two words out of context and then allegedly showing that they passed the test. The Securities and Exchange Commission argued that XRP is a security because most of Ripple's XRP sales were in exchange for money, adding that buyers invested in a common venture with each other and Ripple. In addition, the SEC said that Ripple made investors expect profits from XRP thanks to its management efforts. Finally, the individual defendants' arguments that some of their XRP offerings and sales were not internal are also untenable, the SEC added. Shortly after the handover of the drafts of William Hinman's speech in 2018, the SEC submitted for closed consideration the proposed revisions of two draft documents. The Securities and Exchange Commission submitted to the Chamber by Justice of the Peace Netburn the proposed revisions of two drafts of Hinman's speech in June 2018, which discussed decisions pending consideration by the Securities and Exchange Commission. The securities regulator wants to edit the documents because they contain discussions of the agency's issues. In accordance with the court order of July 12, 2022, the Securities and Exchange Commission respectfully submits for a closed review the proposed amendments to two drafts of Director Bill Hinman's speech in June 2018, in which the Commission's decisions are discussed, reads an excerpt from the Securities and Exchange Commission's petition. According to the SEC, on April 11, 2022, the court ruled that the agency could require the editing of messages from SEC employees discussing how Hinman's speech might affect other agency cases. The SEC hereby submits these two documents with the proposed revisions highlighted in yellow on page 6 of Record 29 and page 5 of Record 35, and therefore seeks to make appropriate changes to these two documents, he concluded. The proposed amendments were submitted to Judge Sarah Netburn for consideration. Ripple is expected to comment on the SEC's request in the coming days. As reported, the Securities and Exchange Commission finally handed over to Ripple drafts of Hinman's scandalous speech in 2018 by order of Judge Annalisa Torres. After more than 18 months and 6 court rulings, we finally have Hinman's documents, internal SEC emails and drafts of his infamous 2018 speech, said Stuart Alderodi, Ripple's general counsel. The XRP ledger is unique and represents a historic feat, paving the way for other technologies to choose their path. XRP Ledger, XRPL, is one of the oldest blockchain networks, and, unsurprisingly, it is gaining more and more popularity in several payment applications thanks to the Ripple on-demand liquidity service. One of the little-known facts about the network is that it was the first one that did not use proof of work, POW, as emphasized by Ripple's chief technical officer and one of the first developers of XRPL, David Schwartz. Notably, Schwartz claims that the decision to replace the POW consensus model was the reason he was hired by Ripple founder Jed McCaleb. Yes, Schwartz said in response to a request from Stefan Huber, who asked if XRPL is the first one not to use POW. When Jed McCaleb first hired me in 2011, he asked me to answer the question of whether it was possible to replace POW with a distributed agreement algorithm more similar to PBFT and preserve the advantages of bitcoins. It is worth noting that XRPL is unique because it does not use POW or proof of stake, POS, but instead uses a proprietary consensus algorithm developed by Schwartz, Noah Youngs, and Arthur Brito. It is noteworthy that the protocol is able to reach consensus without full agreement on which nodes make up the network. What do you think are the prospects for XRP in 2023? Write your forecasts in the comments. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Please do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss the release of new videos, and do not forget about our contest. Write in the XRP comments to add 500 XRP to your account.